brought to my attention that my video that came out for my session with Humble Beginnings is has a couple of issues in it, and you can't hear everything because I forgot to lower my volume on the activities in the background. So what I'm doing is I'm going to make this my second edition of the same session, but throughout you'll be able to hear everything that I'm trying to say in my session. So, my apologies. Thank you for the people that brought it to my attention, and I hope you enjoy. And I'm sorry for the little hiccups that I had in there. So, enjoy.
So let's talk about humble beginnings. I had very humble beginnings. And when I had I had my son, recently divorced, and very little money. Had a good job, but I had to start over because of the divorce. So living in a apartment slash townhome, there was a lot of things that I wanted to do but couldn't because of the finances. So one Christmas, it was 24th, and I was lucky to, or very blessed, sorry, to have my sister in the same townhome complex that I was in. So she just lived on the other side. And I was over there visiting her, and it snowed that Christmas Eve. But prior to that, I wanted a 19-inch colored TV for upstairs, so that I just didn't. I was able to watch it up, TV upstairs too, and I just didn't have the funding. I think I even priced one for like $87 that year, and I just didn't have it. So I, and there was a lot of things I didn't have, but I did pray. And yes, material things are not every so often I would pray for something like this. But this year, starting over was kind of hard. Usually it's not, but for some reason, you have a small child. I think my son was about 2 or 3. He was 3. And it was kind of hard to get everything together. And then I think I had issues with my car. So, that came into play. But one Christmas, prior to Christmas Eve, I asked God, and I was seriously had a deep conversation with him. I just didn't go off and just started asking for this item. But I said, but God, if I if I could just get this, I said, I know I don't need it. It's just something that I want. It's it's not a necessity, but it's just something that I wanted, and I just hope that you can see my heart, and because I wanted him to see. I mean, I wasn't screaming or anything like that, and I don't, I had a little bit of tears here and there, but I just wanted him to see my heart. And I said, maybe I was wrong in this divorce, but I don't want Michael to suffer for Michael was my son, Michael to suffer for my decisions. I never want him to suffer for my decisions because of the things that I do. And so, and actually from that point on, I kept in reference that I never want my son to uh, suffer for the things that I do. And believe it or not, things that we do goes from generation to generation. But I had to read the word in order to, to find that out and to make sure that I wasn't doing that. I wasn't contributing to that. So I asked him for this item, and I didn't think much about it after I asked, because that was just my heart. And I didn't tell him how, when, and where. I just said that. And I thought small because, hey, sometimes, you go small and maybe one year, one day, I'll go big, right? So, and I told him everything. I told him my heart. I showed him my heart. And Christmas Eve, it snowed that Christmas Eve. I think it was 2006, 2005, 2006. And we went outside, two cousins playing together, my son and his cousin, my sister's son. And they went outside, they took a picture, and it was so cute. And everybody was happy, Christmas Eve, it's snowing. And so we had a little thing with my sister that Christmas Eve, and then we went home. And when I turned the curve to go to my place, I saw something by the dumpster that looked very odd. So I was like, okay, because my hands were full. I was going in the house, putting stuff in the house, and had my son in tow. And I went back and I looked out the window, peeked out the window, and it was still there, that item that looked odd. So I said, okay, it can't be. It can't be. So I went outside, by the dumpster, go there, and lo and behold, it was a small little TV. But these TVs had a VCR, so it was a TV/VCR, and on top of it was the manual. I kid you not, was the manual and the remote. On top of it was the manual and the remote. It was snowing a little bit, right? So, but the snow wasn't really sticking. So I grabbed it, right? I looked around. I was like, okay, for real. I grabbed it, took it in the house, wiped it down, looked at it. It was like, you've got to be kidding me. And I said, okay, I'm not going to turn it on right now because it's been outside. I don't want to put it in the socket, make sure it's really dry, right? So I just kept staring at it. I was like, you really? So, and as I thought it was dry, I plugged it up. I was like, it might not even work. But I was like, okay, don't say negativity. It's here. So I plugged it up. I put batteries in the, I had found some batteries. I put batteries in the remote. I plugged it up. It worked. It was color. And I put it in a VCR. It worked. Nothing was wrong with it. Nothing was wrong with this little small TV. And I was so happy I started to cry. I was just like, oh, thank you, sister. Merry Christmas to me. Merry Christmas to me. And I was so happy about it that I went to church. I think it was, I went to church and talked about it, but it was like in January. I didn't talk about it in December. But I was like, I got to tell somebody what happened. Because I'm pretty sure I told my sister. But I got to tell somebody at church. I got to tell my testimony of what God did, right? So once I did, I I don't think they believe me. It's hard to believe, but to me it was a miracle, and miracles do happen. Uh, but some people did, and I was just flabbergasted. This was the I've had things happen per se throughout my life, uh, but I've never had anything like this. Not on like if I asked, it came right then. There are things that happened that came later on. And I believe in all my heart that God does give you the desires of your heart. If you open your heart to Him and really, really be truthful, because there's a lot of things that people say, and I'm going to say people because we do this, that we're just not truthful to God, and He knows our hearts. So if we are really honest with Him and ourselves, what is our agenda? Why are we asking for what we're asking for? Why don't we just be honest and just really be honest about why we're asking God to do something? Is it let's be honest, is it greed? Is it lust of the flesh? Is it lust of your eyes? Is it the pride of life? Is it all of those things that we're not supposed to have, but we do? And we have to be honest with ourselves about that so that we can face those things and then say it out loud to God. You don't have to tell anybody else, but say it out loud to confess to Him what your heart is saying, and then ask Him, what do I do about this? How do I get rid of this? Why do I feel this way? Why do I have this? And just be honest about it. Here's my lesson for tying it all to having humble beginnings, or having humility in my heart. The TV did not come exactly the way I thought it would. The TV did not. Nobody presented it to me. Nobody bought it for me. It wasn't at my doorstep Christmas morning or even later, It was at the trash dump. By the trash dump, right? But it was at the trash dump. And am I going to take something that somebody threw away? Am I going to take that and make it good? Here's my thing. From that day on, that's why I never told anybody until January. And that's why it was hard for me to do a testimony until January. Because was I ashamed? Was I embarrassed? I don't. In a sense, I was a little bit by finding it by the trash dumpster. In my testimony, I did say that too. But I was just so happy to have it, and that He heard my heart. And also showing me where was my heart. How are you going to accept it? Do you accept it? God never tells you how things are going to happen for you. He gives it to you. You asked for the TV. You didn't say how you wanted it. And even if you did say how you wanted it, it still might have came the same way it did. Are you still going to take it? And if not, why not? So the humility part was me taking something from the trash. Taking something from the trash that was absolutely in excellent condition, with the manual and the remote on top of it. It looked brand new, y'all. Literally looked brand new. And it never died on me. I years later, I gave it to my brother. Everything on that TV worked. So it's one of those things where, are you going to stop your blessings because of where you got it or you found it? Humility is priceless. Priceless. And from that point on, I take things that other people don't want and make it out of things that I love to see. So, in other words, I take the old and make it new. And this is why you see the display that I have. I love to take things that people don't want and to make it new and to make it wantable, desirable. And quite honestly, there's a lot of things in my house that I have done that, but I love it. And it took labor to do it. And I'm always trying to find creative ideas. I give things away, but if I see something and it gives me a design or a desire, and eventually I'll probably either give it away or sell it, because that's what I usually do. But it's just taking those things that you never know the blessings behind it. And by the way, that wasn't the only thing that was at the dumpster. I believe that there was somebody, either they moved out and left stuff behind, and people and the cleaning crew cleaned out that apartment or townhome, because there was more things there that you would never imagine. But that TV was unbelievable. And I just asked for a TV, but I got a TV and a VCR with a remote. I think that God does exceedingly abundantly above all that we could ever ask or even dream. So I welcome the humble beginnings. And I welcome anything that He has for me. Sometimes I don't want it. Because some people He had put in my life was like, I don't know about this, Lord. I don't know if I can mentor this person, Lord. I don't know if I will do this, Lord. But I'm honest about it with Him. And He shows me not everything, but the little pieces that gets me along the way. And I think the little pieces is what builds, that has built me and made me humble. And even to be a blessing to somebody else. God bless you. I hope this was an encouragement for you to embrace the humble beginnings.